Good day everyone, my name is Rina Angeles Hermes Dagandan, and for today's video we're going to tackle the notion of rights, to be followed by Dada and Iskarza. So what is notion of rights, by the way? So rights are the legal, social, or ethical principle of freedom or entitlement. That is, the right or the fundamental normative rules about what is allowed of people or owed to people according to the some legal system, social convention, or ethical theory. Natural rights are those that are dependent on the laws or custom of any particular culture or government, and so are universal, fundamental, and inalienable. So, natural rights are closely related to the concept of natural law or laws. So, speaking of natural laws, it is a theory in ethics and philosophy that human beings possess intrinsic value that govern our reasoning and behaviors. So, natural right, it is the philosophy belief that all human beings are born with certain rights, like the right to life, the right to be free, the right to think independently, the right to express your belief, the right to be treated equally or fairly before the law. Right to live. The right to live is the belief that a being has the right to live, and in particular should not be killed by another entity, including government. The right to education is a fundamental human right. Every individual, irrespective of race, gender, nationality, ethics, or social origin, religion, or political preference, age, or disability, is entitled to a free elementary education. So, our right to work law gives the workers the freedom to choose whether or not to join a labor union in the workplace. This law always makes it optional for employees in unionized workplace to pay for union due to other membership fees, requires for union representation, whether they are in the union or not. Next, human rights. Human rights are the moral principle or norms for certain standard of human behavior and are regularly protected in municipal and international law. So, human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that belongs to every person in the world from birth until death. These basic rights are based on shared values like dignity, fairness, equality, respect, and independence. These values are defined and protected by law. The right to form association or the right of freedom association is the right to join a formal or informal group to take collective action. These rights include the right to form or join a group. Conversely, it includes the right not to compel to join an association. So, freedom of association encompasses both an individual right to join or leave groups voluntarily. The right of the group to take collective action is to pursue the interest of its member, and the right of an association is to accept or decline membership based on a certain criteria. So, what does the right to due process mean? So, due process is the legal requirements that requires the state to respect all the legal rights owed to the person. Due process balances power of the state and protects the individual person from the power of the state. The right to travel. The right to travel is a part of the liberty of which a citizen cannot be deprived without due process of law and only on clear and compelling grounds of national security, public health, and public safety as mandated by the Constitution. Number 3. Alienable and inalienable rights. So, alienable rights are those which can be surrendered, renounced, or removed, such as the right to travel, the right to operate business, while inalienable rights are those which cannot be surrendered, renounced, or removed, such as the right to life, the right to marry, and the right to education. Right to property. So, The right to property or right to own property is often classified as human right for a natural person regardless of their position. So therefore, citizen has right to own and possess the property. The right of individual conflicts with the right of state to acquire property. A person has a right not to be deprived or his property except through due process of law. So this right is important because it helps people to realize their economic human rights such as freedom from hunger and also assist in development. And intrinsically, everyone needs the right to own property in order to preserve their human dignity.
Good day, everyone. So before we proceed or to discuss our next topic for today, let me introduce to you first myself. So I am Chana Lijidada. So now we will tackle what are the characteristics of rights. So we have three characteristics of rights. First is the coaction. The second one is the limitation. Third, the last is the collusion. So what is coaction? So coaction, the definition itself, is the power inherent in rights to prevent their violation and to exact redress for their unjust violation. From the word itself, coaction, ito ay isang makapangyarihang likas sa mga karapatan, nagbibigay ng lunas para sa hindi makatarong na paglaban. If someone may naglabag sa iyong karapatan, mga rights, pwede yang maaksyonan. Sa pamamagitan niyan, ma-aaksyonan at malulunasan ang iyong mga hinanaig patungkol sa iyong mga karapatan. So next, the second characteristic of rights, we have the limitation. The definition itself is it is the natural limits or boundary beyond which a right may not be insisted without violating the rights of another. So ito ay isang limitasyon from the word itself, limitation, o hangganan na kung saan dapat hindi lumalabag sa karapatan ng ibang tao. Dapat tayo maging maingat sa ating mga galaw na walang maaapakang tao, na wala tayong maaapakang karapatan ng ibang tao. So the last characteristic of rights, we have the collusion. The definition itself is the conflict of two rights so related that it's not possible to exercise without one violating another. So, ang collusion ay may kasalungat na karapatan at konektado at nag-uugnay, pero hindi posible na gamitin ang isa na walang lumalabag sa sinuman. Next, we have the subject rights. The subject rights consist of individual and juridical person. Individual person is every human being. Juridical person is any legal activity or association with men such as corporation, clubs, fraternities, and unions. We have the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights consists of a list of rights pertaining to a person. The rights are recognized, guaranteed, and protected against invasion, reduction, or destruction, premised or the belief in the dignity of man and the intrinsic worth of human life. So now, let's proceed to civil and political rights. So what is civil rights? Civil rights, the definition itself, are those which individual enjoys in his private activities or in his transactions with others as protected and guaranteed by the law. Nasisiyahan sa kanyang pribadong aktibidad o sa kanyang mga transaksyon sa iba bilang protektado at ginagantiyahan ng batas. At meron itong mga karapatan or rights. Rights to privacy, karapatan sa pagiging pribado. Rights to travel or change residence, karapatan na maglakbay o baguhin ang tirahan. Rights to property, karapatan sa pag-aari. Mga properties. Right to worship, karapatan sa pagsamba or choosing religion. karapatan or rights to free access to the Court of Justice, karapatan sa libreng pag-access sa korte ng hustisya. And next, we have the karapatang pampolitika or political rights. The definition itself are those which an individual enjoys participation in government affairs. Karapatang politika ay nasisiyahan ang isang individual sa pagkikilahok sa mga gawain ng gobyerno. So we have the rights also there. Rights of political, rights to free speech and free press, karapatan sa malayang pagsasalita at malayang pamamahayag, o rights to form association, or karapatan na bumuo ng samahan. Next is right to assemble and to petition the government for redress or of grievances, karapatan na magtipon-tipon at upang magpetisyon sa gobyerno para sa pagbawi ng mga hinaing. And lastly, right to vote and be voted to public office, karapatang bumuo at boto sa pampublikong tanggapan.
Good day everyone, I am Rhea Mies Escarza. My topic is human rights today. So when we say human rights, it is based on human positive laws. Human rights are more than just the sum of our political and civil rights. Kapag sinasabing human rights or karapatang pantao, ito ay higit pa sa kabuuan ng ating mga karapatang pampolitika at sibil. Human rights included our economic, social, and cultural rights. Number 2, notion of duty. When we say notion of duty, it is a right to express the moral obligation of the human based on reasoning and active for the sake of duty. So, duty is anything we bound to do or omit. Duty is a moral obligation incumbent upon a person to do, omit, or avoid something. So, ang tungkulin ay isang obligasyong moral na nakasalalay sa isang tao na tanggalin o iwasan ang isang bagay. Another one is correlation of rights and duty. So, right and duty are correlative in a given person. One who has a right to do something has the duty to act consistent with that right. Ibig sabihin, kapag ang isang tao ay may karapatang gumawa ng isang bagay, siya ay may tungkulin na kumilos na naaayon sa karapatang iyon. Prevailing errors is insisting that other people respect our rights, while we ourselves do very little about our duty to act consistently with such right. Last one is reciprocity of rights and duties. In interpersonal relationship, rights and duties are reciprocal. The right of one people implies in all others the duty to respect that right. Ibig sabihin, ang karapatan ng isang tao ay nagpapahiwatig sa lahat ng iba na tungkulin na igalang ang mga karapatang iyon.